All right, let's talk about the moon. For ages, right, we've talked about going back, but something's different now. A really audacious vision is starting to take shape, and it's not about planting flags and taking pictures, it's about building a permanent home for humanity. This is about way more than just new tech, it's a whole new way of thinking.
So, this whole vision, it's got a name, Moonbase Alpha. The goal here isn't just to be humanity's first little outpost off-world. It's much bigger. It's supposed to be the critical testbed for all the stuff we're going to need to one day survive on Mars. This isn't some quick science trip. It's the first step to building an actual city on another world.
And that right there, that's the huge shift in thinking. This one quote just nails the entire change in mindset. We're moving away from the Apollo-style pop-in visits to actually creating a sustainable, permanent place to live. But, building something that can actually last on the moon, that is an incredible, incredible challenge. So to make this dream happen, we've got to solve one massive, massive problem. A base on the moon isn't really a base until it can run all the time, 24/7. And that means you have to figure out how to survive that long, brutal lunar night. I mean, really think about that for a second. 2 full weeks of pitch black darkness. There's no sunlight to run your solar panels, so how do you keep the lights on, the air scrubbers running, the heaters working when the sun is gone for half a month? This single problem is the giant wall between a quick visit and a real home. Now, the first thing that probably pops into your head is, well, solar power, right? And yeah, for the very first stages, that's exactly the plan. But as we're about to see, while solar is a good start, you run into some really hard limits when you try to scale it up to a city. To give solar the best shot it has, the plan is to aim for Shackleton Crater, right at the moon's south pole. The rims of this crater get sunlight almost all the time, which is amazing for the moon. But even here, in literally the best spot we know of, almost all the time isn't all the time. And that's a huge problem. But the moment that sun dips below the horizon, man, things get nasty, fast. The temperature just plummets, down to minus 200 degrees Celsius. That is cold enough to completely wreck the batteries you'd be relying on, unless you spend a ton of energy just keeping them warm, which of course just drains them faster. And this is where the math just gets brutal. It's not just one thing, it's a pileup. You've got shadows from nearby mountains that can block the sun for days at a time. You've got that razor-sharp lunar dust that sticks to everything and can slash your power output in half. So to survive those gaps, you need batteries, tons and tons of them. And every single one has to be launched from Earth. The bigger your base gets, the amount of batteries you need just skyrockets. It's not sustainable. Solar works for a small start, but you can't build a city on it. So if solar just doesn't cut it, what's the answer? Well, it's a technology that honestly couldn't care less if the sun is out, if there's dust everywhere, or if it's 200 degrees below zero. We're talking about compact fission reactors. This is the tech that makes a permanent settlement actually possible.
And look, this isn't just some drawing on a napkin. NASA has been plugging away at this for over a decade. They started with the Kilopower project to prove it could work, and they've just been scaling it up ever since. The goal now is a 100-kilowatt system. That's enough juice to power dozens of homes, and they're aiming to launch it sometime in the 2030s.
So how does it work? Well, the beauty of it is in its simplicity. You're not looking at some giant, complicated steam engine. The reactor core just heats up some helium gas inside a sealed tube. That gas expands, pushes a piston, the piston moves back, and that motion generates electricity. It's an elegant, closed-loop system designed to just run and run for years with no maintenance.
In this chart right here, this shows you why it's such a no-brainer. A single compact reactor weighs maybe 3,000 pounds. To get the same amount of continuous power from solar and batteries, you'd need to launch tens of tons of hardware. When every single pound costs a fortune to get off Earth, that difference is everything. It's a total game changer.
Okay, but here's the crazy part. As important as that nuclear reactor is, it's not the real revolution here. The thing that truly changes everything is the rocket that gets it there. And because of that rocket, we're seeing a completely new philosophy for how we build things in space. First off, we've got to wrap our heads around just how awful the moon is to hardware. Here on Earth, we've got an atmosphere, a magnetic field. We're protected. The moon has none of that. It's just a relentless vacuum with cosmic radiation, that sharp dust, and wild temperature swings. Everything you put there just gets destroyed over time. It's not a design flaw, it's just physics. So you've got this brutal environment. What do you do? Well, for decades, we've had one approach: preserve. Think about the International Space Station. Getting a replacement part up there was nearly impossible, so it had to be built to last forever. That means super thick walls, tons of backup systems, and a design that was frozen solid years before it ever launched. But now, a totally new approach is taking over. Replace. The idea is simple. It's cheaper and smarter to build something good enough that can be upgraded or even swapped out later than it is to try and build one perfect, untouchable thing from the start. So what's the big change? What makes this whole replace it idea even possible? It's one word: Starship. A rocket like Starship completely flips the script on the economics of space. For the first time ever, planners can think about a future where sending a whole new habitat to the moon is still hard, yeah, but it's not a once-in-a-generation, bet the entire budget kind of event. And once you make that mental switch, it changes everything. We're not building a static monument anymore, something we have to protect at all costs. Instead, we can start thinking of the moon base as a dynamic, evolving system that's literally designed to learn and get better.
Think about safety. The old way meant stuffing 3 life support systems inside one habitat because you could never let that habitat fail. The new way is to spread your bets across missions. If one habitat design turns out to be a dud or just really annoying to live in, you fly up a new, better one on the next mission. Your early mistakes don't have to be set in stone for decades. The whole base can adapt.
And the really cool part? This isn't just one company's wild idea. It's basically becoming the new global playbook. You've got NASA's Artemis program relying on SpaceX to get things there. You have the European and Japanese space agencies building rovers and modules that are designed to plug into the system. Even China's plan for their lunar base follows the exact same logic. Start small, build in stages, and upgrade as you go. And that all leads to this, which I think is just a fantastic way to put it. As soon as you accept that things don't have to be perfect from day one, the whole conversation changes. You get to move past the disparate question of how do we survive? And you can start asking the much more exciting question of how do we make this better? So that's what I want to leave you with. For the first time in history, we have the tech and, maybe more importantly, the philosophy to build something on another world that isn't a fragile museum piece. Instead, it's a tough, evolving system that's designed to learn from its mistakes. That one little shift, well, it opens up a completely different and way more exciting future on the moon.